Alright, so in the previous video, we got our enemy character taken care of, he's ready to go, and now we need some kind of a way to fight back. We need something that we can shoot back at the enemy and make them go away. So to do this, we're going to set up our weapon and our projectile. Actually, we're going to do our projectile first. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. We're going to make a new blueprint class. Just right click here in the content browser and create a new blueprint class. We're going to base that off of actor, which is anything that can live in our level. And we're going to call it projectile. Again, super clever names, right? Double click and open this up. And I'm going to close off some of these other classes that we've picked up here across the top. We don't really need all of them right now. So here we are with projectile. And we need to add some components to this to make it into something functional. So let's start by clicking the Add Component button. And I want you to type sphere, but be careful. I don't want you to grab a basic shape sphere right now. Instead, grab a sphere collision component down here at the bottom of the list. Now, let's name this. So let's give it a name, projectile collision. And we're going to set its radius, so look over here in the details panel, set sphere radius down to 10, so it's going to be pretty small. Next, now we can add an actual sphere component. So that's under basic shapes. It's a different kind of sphere. And we're going to call this the laser mesh. Now this is just a mesh, it is just here for decoration. It's not actually going to do anything except look pretty. So because of that, we're going to take its collision preset and change it from block all dynamic down to no collision. It's just here like a visual reference for what the laser should look like. Now to make it look a bit more like a laser, we have a couple of things we need to do. We're going to hit R to grab the scale tool, and we're going to scale this guy down until it fits inside that collision radius. Then scale it up in its local x-axis to give it a little bit of length, and then we'll just slide it back a little bit. Precise values are not important here. You can be very arbitrary with it. If you want a really long laser, you can do that. Just be careful, because if you make it too long, it's going to start to look kind of fake. But you can always come back in here and change it later. Now, the problem is that right now, this does not look like a laser. It looks like a big metal plastic capsule thing. I don't even know. But it doesn't look like a laser beam. And what's going to make it look like a laser is if we put a nice laser material on it. So let's compile and save, and I'll go back out here to my content browser. Over in my content folder, let's right click and make a new folder, which I will call materials. And inside of this, let's right click and make a new material, which I will call projectile mat. Or you can use your own naming convention. That's just what I'm going to call it. We'll double click to open this up, and the first thing I'm going to do is change the way this is going to render. This does not need to be a lit surface. I am defining a laser blast, right? Like in Star Wars or Star Trek, you see lasers flying around, and they don't ever receive light. They just give it off. So take your shading model, and we're going to set this to unlit. And then take your blend mode and set this to additive. It is only going to be adding to the brightness of the pixels in the world and nothing else. So now we only have emissive color. Really, we're only going to drive emissive color. We don't have to worry about anything else. So let's figure out what color our laser is going to be. Let's create a parameter to hold that, just in case we ever want to talk to this laser later, which I don't think we're going to do in this project, but if you wanted something like where the laser changes color over time, if you ever played Free Space 2, which I know that really dates me, but it was a great game. If you haven't played it, check it out. That game, I remember, had this really cool effect where as lasers flew away from your ship, they would change color. They go from like a bright reddish purple down to blue as they get really far away, which is kind of nifty. It's like blue shift. So let's hold down the V key, V as in vector, and click. And that's going to make a vector parameter. And we're going to call this base color. I always call my base color parameters that. I tend not to use things like body color or specific other colors because I forget those, unless I have a lot of different colors I'm switching between. Okay, now let's give this a default color. Let's say some shade of green. Let's just go like the most obnoxious bright green we can think of. And then we need to make this really, really bright. So make a multiply node. You can right click and type the word multiply if you want to and create one. Or you can just hold down the M key, M as in multiply, and click, and that'll make one. So you want to multiply this by some value, and we're going to make it a variable value. So hold down the S key, S is in scalar. That's a scalar parameter. Again, you could right click and type scalar parameter if you wanted to, but it's faster to just hit the S key and click. So let's name this glow intensity. And we'll plug that in and connect the end result out to emissive color. Now take your glow intensity and give it a default value of about 10, and boom, it's all glowy. Now, in my opinion, this looks terrible, and that's because you are super saturated at the core. I'm a big fan of certain movies that might involve people who have swords made of laser. And so, if you're familiar with what I'm talking about, you know that usually a lightsaber, we just make the reference, right? A lightsaber has like a bright white core, and a lot of lasers you see like in TV shows and whatnot, they have a bright whitish core. And to get that, all you need to do is just desaturate just a little bit. So take your saturation and pull it down just a hair, and you get a nice brilliant white or whitish core in the middle. So just don't super saturate, and you get this really cool color. So that's great. Let's save that. That's automatically going to compile when you save, so no problem there. Let's close out this. Let's select our mesh back here in our projectile, and there is our material. Just click the little drop box here, and let's search for projectile, and there it is. Click, and there you go. It looks like a laser. Pew pew. It's amazing. So we have our basic projectile. Let's go ahead and build our basic gun while we're here. So we'll compile, we'll save this, go back out to the content browser, let's hit Control S so we don't lose any of our work. Let's go back over to the blueprints folder. We will right click and make a new blueprint class, which we will base on actor. Once again, anything that can live in the world. And we will name this weapon. Double click it. And the first thing we're going to do is start adding components. And the first component we will add will be a skeletal mesh, which we will call gun mesh. And if you look in the properties for it, so come over here to the skeletal mesh, click on the drop down. There's only two to choose from. So we're going to grab the first person gun, and there you go. Now we want this to be facing down the X axis. So let's go ahead and rotate this so that it's facing forward. I may have to update that later and make changes to it, but I don't think so. So we'll rotate in the gun mesh so it's facing down X. You can always confirm that using the axes down here in the bottom. If I have to change that later when we go to attach it to the character, I can always come back and change it at that point, no problem. Let's add another component. So basically, this is just a mesh, right? This is not really a gun. This is just a collection of polygons with some bones in them. It has no idea that this is a barrel and this is a trigger and a handle and this is the stock and so forth. So we need to tell this gun the location where it's going to spawn projectiles when we fire it. So let's add a new component. This will be an arrow component. Arrows are really good for this sort of thing. And I'm going to turn off snapping for just a moment. So you do that by clicking the little grid button here. And let's get the move tool out, and I'm going to put this right at the end of the barrel. And you can rotate around. I'm holding down the Alt key and left dragging. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but that's pretty close. And we're going to name this component. We're going to call it, let's see, projectile spawn point. And I'm going to parent it to the gun mesh. So wherever the gun mesh goes, so too will this arrow. So let's compile and save. So at this point, we have created our basic projectile. Ooh, you know what? The projectile needs one more thing. I almost forgot about this, but I didn't really forget because the video is not over yet. Right now, this doesn't know that it needs to behave like a projectile yet. It's really just a mesh and a collision surface. We need it to behave like a projectile. And what do projectiles do? Well, they fly through the scene. That's it. I mean, as soon as you fire a bullet, that bullet just flies forward with all due diligence. So we're going to add a special component called a projectile movement component. And the whole purpose of this this component is to help a projectile move like a projectile. So let's change some settings in it. You see there's a lot, but we don't really need that many. There's some fun ones though. There's like homing projectile and all kinds of fun stuff. But we're gonna take initial speed and set that to 1200 centimeters per second. But also you'll notice that gravity scale is set to 1. That means we'll have lasers that fall, which is not super useful. So let's take this and set it to 0 so we have no gravity scale and the projectile just flies forward. So there we go. Now this can behave like a projectile. We have a weapon, but don't have any behavior on either one of these set up just yet. But I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead and hit Control S. There's not much we can test just yet. We still have to kind of build up the gun. We've got to add some functionality to it so that it can spawn projectiles into the world. And then even after we give the gun its functionality, we have to attach it to the character so that the character can actually talk to that functionality and make the gun fire. So again, we can't really test anything just yet, but let's go ahead and move on from here. That's going to wrap things up for this video. Thanks for joining us.